Hey guys, Eric here. I wanted to start this episode off with a quick disclaimer that the audio for this episode is kind of screwed. I sound far lower than everyone else. I tried to fix this issue. I couldn't figure it out. And I was sitting there and nothing was working. So I just ended up saying screw it, just hit record and record the episode anyway. But I think we had a pretty dang good conversation and I still thought it was worth, sharing, even if you can barely hear me because, everyone else is fine. And they kind of carried the conversation anyway. So I didn't want to just, not post the episode because of that. This is our first, I guess you could say, bottle type episode. News has been kind of slow in the gaming industry, as you guys may or may not know. So I decided to just have us all get on a call and just talk about anything and everything. No plan, no nothing. We talk about movies, comics, just music, a lot of different things. If that's something you guys are into, and you want to see more of that, then we'll probably do more episodes like that in the future if news is ever slow or something. But if you're like, nah, guys, just stick to games, that's cool too. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, just wanted to get on here to let you guys know that the audio, for me at least, isn't the best. Just bear with me. I'm still learning a lot and figuring this stuff out. So with that being said, on to the show. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, I'm just getting some counseling.
Let's just keep talking.
Let's talk about.
I have no
Yeah.
this week, so we could just talk.
Eric, I remember you really liked She-Hulk, right? You said you couldn't wait to watch it.
I never finished it.
You never started?
I never finished.
You
never finished it. Yeah.
How do you feel about? Really? About when did you hop off?
I can't remember what episode I was on. I just remember I was kind of excited because Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Actually, I feel like the MCU has done him kind of dirty. I'm like that one guy who likes the Incredible Hulk movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that movie was pretty good. And I was excited because it was like, oh, we're finally getting that movie's getting some acknowledgement through She-Hulk, and I don't know. I guess I wasn't quite interested in Jennifer Walters as I would have liked. I don't think it was like this. Like a lot of people when they were like, oh, the downfall of the MCU, or talking about like the MCU and all this stuff, they were always like,
that's funny.
I'm like, She-Hulk, I don't think it's that bad. I just don't think it was that interesting either.
Yeah. It was an interesting choice, especially with what I was gonna ask is how you guys feel about? I guess this is before Deadpool, right? She was created before him, but was supposed to be the same kind of thing. And I don't know. I think it's weird. Why would you focus on creating this if you just made this really successful film series with the much more popular character? What was the plan there?
I think it was kind of really to appease a certain audience. Like with Deadpool, you have maybe the mid-teens or tweens or people in their 40s who would like that sort of thing, that kind of popcorn or pizza and beer movie that you could watch on the couch at night. While with She-Hulk being on the Disney streaming platform, I feel like it did a good job just based on what I've read of the original comics of capturing the tone of the comics tonally, but some of the execution overall, it just felt kind of sloppy. And plus, I think Disney Plus finales just aren't that great at wrapping things up. Though I did like some of the points it brought up, socially speaking.
Yeah, I can agree to that sentiment, and I do feel like the demographic what demographic would you say, the Disney demographic, or you mean like a older group or younger kids?
I'd say more so Disney and perhaps even the female audience as well, just because aside from WandaVision, WandaVision and Miss Marvel, That was probably the third series on Disney Plus with a female lead.
Hmm. And I feel like it was good. I like the actress a lot. She actually was she's I don't know if you saw Perry Mason before it got canceled, but she was in that, and she's she's just like it was just I don't think it was for kids, right? But it's not like Deadpool's levels, so you could tell there was some like definitely some expectations that you keep up with the dirty joke. I think there's like a couple F bombs, maybe not. I might not remember, but I don't know. I think that the characterization of like I don't know the other characters they brought in that wasn't bad. Like Daredevil, he stayed pretty accurate to himself. That the fight scenes were pretty cool. I still remember that fight scene with Daredevil. Like
Mhm.
they didn't do disservice to that character. I just feel like they didn't do Hulk justice. He wasn't in it enough for being related to this character.
I agree.
I don't know,
And
but
the
yeah,
origin
like
story was botched too, I will say.
yeah,
Because in the comics,
Mm.
it's like
of
it's
her.
actually way more interesting. Like they straight up get attacked, and then like Jennifer like gets shot and like all this stuff, and it was actually intense.
She
And I thought
does.
they were gonna do that in the show, but they were just like, oh, they just get into a car accident or something, which I think is far less interesting.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I like. I thought it would. Yeah, I didn't really. It was just like yeah, whatever to me. I didn't think much of it. I thought it was cool how they kind of parodied the original like '70s show. I think they did that right. So they kind of did like a cartoon kind of animation, kind of not animation, but like the very next episode, they like recap, and they use like I don't know if you guys ever saw the original Hulk TV show from like the '70s, the
Lou
'80s.
Ferrigno.
Oh yeah, Bill
Yeah,
Bixby.
they were like parodying that a little bit in like the next episode with how she became She Hulk. But I think that it's interesting. I don't know why these kind of things always happen, right? I don't know if there's like we need to hit the female demographic because you're right. There's you can't just we can't ignore that. I mean, Captain Marvel, that's been an attempt. Miss Marvel, these have all been like
Mm-hmm.
and like WandaVision was the only one that was pretty that was like good. I feel like I like Miss Marvel too. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. I feel like
I liked Miss Marvel. I don't think I finished the show actually. If I'm being honest, I actually no, I did. I think
yeah,
I finished it before I saw the Marvels. But I was excited
it's
for
nothing
that
against.
because I really like Miss Marvel comic books, and she's
Mhm.
like actually like when I played that Avengers game, I like really liked her character. But the only thing she really had at the time was comic books, so I started reading those, and I was like, she's pretty cool. But I don't feel like she's quite as cool in terms of like her powers in the MCU. Like they altered it a bit, I guess, to
Mhm.
differentiate her more from Mister Fantastic, which I'm just
Yeah,
like, I mean, I guess that's fine, but
yeah. I didn't even know that was her power,
yeah, she's
but I
kind
know
of
she's popular. They team her up a lot. Like she's in a lot of the team ups in
yeah.
comics. But like, what were you excited about specifically? Was it just because of that and like the game? I feel like the game would have done a really good job if it was good. I mean, like if it was better.
I think she was great in the game. I think she's great in her comics too. I think she's cool in the MCU, but just
Yeah.
didn't hit the same for me.
I really think it's about
I
those
think
things.
it's more so the show than her though, because I think the actress is great, the character is great. I think it's just like the show that wasn't all that interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard similar things, and then they made this show called Secret Wars, and
Oh
I sit
yeah,
here thinking, like, yeah, what is going on with these deals? Like, what's going on? Because I'm sorry, man, it's just not Nick Fury. He's cool, but unless he's fighting like Marvel actual villains, like actual comic villains, I'm not gonna care that much. Like if they brought back Red Skull, like he resurrected or something, and that was like Nick Fury has to fight him. He's the only one. I would have found that infinitely more exciting. You know what I mean? But like I don't know. I guess who were the villains? The Skrulls. I thought the Skrulls were good now, and I don't know. I don't.
I was kind of let down by that because it feels like an example of a time where the MCU just seems so overstuffed with ideas, like in terms of scale, like the stuff in
Yeah,
Shang-Chi and then Secret Invasion and plus Black
yeah,
Panther. And the Secret Invasion was such a huge deal in the comics in its original arc, and then it just feels like it got sidelined into something else with the show. Like,
They got pushed into a show. Like, yeah. These are yeah, go ahead.
And then it just feels like, because drama, like, technically speaking, so many of the events that are adapted should be two-part movies like Infinity War and Endgame, but then it just seems like they shafted it into something smaller and less impactful.
So you mean to tell me that Secret Wars or this show covers the whole arc?
Actually, I never even finished it. No, I didn't even make it past the first episode, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard Secret Invasion because my dad was like a huge comic book reader back in the day, and he was telling me about like how big of a deal the Secret Invasion was, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see that in MCU," and then it's like, "Oh, it's just a show." Well, that's it.
I don't know, man, because I keep hearing about. I think they're still making an Avengers film called Secret Wars.
Oh, are they?
So I think that, yeah. So I think it still might be flavoring like this show, like they did with Fury. It just might be like to add, like some lore. But I mean, I still understand why it wasn't as successful because there's not much reason besides it's a Marvel property. I don't want to. I don't know if you guys saw Agents of Shield, but that to me, I didn't watch it. I'm pretty sure I watched like a couple episodes, but then I just couldn't anymore because
I watched it.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not wearing a costume. You're not a superhero. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to come up with a reason to, care, and that's gonna be hard because I'm like, it's just not as much as I'm not as invested. I don't care as much about, Peggy Carter. That was a character too. I don't know what's still going on over there that Kevin Feige is like, look, we can't show Ghost Rider yet until, we can't have him cross over with
Norman
Moon.
Reedus better be Johnny Blaze, bro. That's all.
Yeah, exactly, right. Dude, we could get Daryl over here to be Ghost Rider, and have him fight Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, and then Spidey comes in. But I don't know, man, because that trailer for Deadpool. I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. Like, I watched it like 3 times now, man. I was so hyped. I remember why I like trailers again because I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched a trailer like in a while. But I mean, I just had to when it came out, right, man? I'd be foolish not to. I was like, man, if I don't watch this right now, if someone tells me something, I know I'm gonna be upset. So, I did. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I actually haven't.
All right, yes.
I saw.
You haven't seen it? Oh my god,
I've seen it.
I know someone who's totally golf from watching it.
Let's let Eric watch it. Eric, you can watch it. It's like 2 minutes. You get back to us in 2 minutes, man. Go turn off the. Sorry, seriously. No, I mean, seriously, go watch it right now. I'm
you want to spoil yourself, Eric?
Oh, I don't really care. I haven't watched it because I don't really care about the Deadpool movies like that. To be honest, I fell asleep.
I'll be real. I'm not alone. Okay,
you fell asleep.
What? I think I did.
And I don't fall asleep in movies. That doesn't happen.
That's wild, bro.
Well, to be fair, I did I kind of was like I put it on when I was laying in bed. I was like, I'll lay in bed and watch a movie. I guess I was too comfortable, but I haven't gone.
That was a bad idea from the jump, Eric.
Yeah, that's a couch movie, not a bed movie.
Yeah, that's a laugh on, jump on your couch, die laughing. No, I saw the second one, which that's weird, right? I've seen that one completely, and then the first one I saw
a bit of the second one. I had a friend in high school who showed me a bit of that movie.
I was like, Cable, come on, man, I gotta see Josh Brolin. No, I'm playing. How are they even gonna do that anymore, man? He's freaking Thanos, and now he's like, I guess they could. His voice sounds a little different, right?
Oh yeah, and plus, Marvel and DC actors, they cross over more than we even realize.
Yeah, I mean, Lex Luthor, man, he's freaking beast. We don't talk about that one, Eric. We don't talk about that one. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, Star-Lord's mom, the actress who played her, actually played someone Captain America hooked up with.
Oh yeah, I think he's always, man. Martha Wayne. No, I'm playing you. I'm just kidding. What if like the Batman's parents? That would be funny as hell, dude. They were like, Tony's dad was Thomas Wayne as well. Right? This dude has no luck. That would be so funny.
Man. So what was the initial conversation? How we get on MCU?
I said something about the whole. I know I was about to say something, and then I started thinking about that.
Wasn't it something about like properties being adapted and just being generalized for mass audiences, such as with Death Stranding and then the MCU as well?
Yeah, that was like the initial.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I know that we were.
Yeah, it's
I know that
it's a chill bottle episode. Yeah. We don't. News has been so slow. Like I remember I told Boyce before we like when we were first in talks of like doing this. I was like, I'm in a unique position. I'm trying to start a gaming podcast, but I'm it's the year of the backlog, so I'm not going to be able to talk about any new games. So like this show has like kind of been reliant on like gaming news, but even that's been like mad slow lately. So I'm just like, I guess we'll just talk about whatever this week because I've got nothing.
I hate to shift us into one of those cringy rap reaction podcasts, but the things that I've been caught up so much this week, it's a couple of disses from Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
I've heard a lot.
Enlighten us on that. I'm not in the rap world, so like you're gonna have to brief me on that.
So based on what I've seen, like there's been a back and forth the past week or two, like starting from Drake trying to get at J. Cole, Metro Boomin, and maybe The Weeknd in a diss track. And then he also included Kendrick as well. And apparently Drake called Kendrick short. And so Kendrick came up with the diss of the century in Euphoria, where he cites, he just grounds Drake, like grinds him down into nothing with his lyrics, and he even references stuff that happened years ago, stuff that people are even just finding about just now.
You said you hate Drake. What's that about?
So with Drake, I mean, I think
you hate Drake.
Oh yeah, I mean, I hate Drake and Florida. But
we found out why he hates Florida. Let's find out why he hates Drake.
It's like he kind of perpetuates this lifestyle of richness and just like coolness and being a gangster. But the thing is, like, I just think he's a poser, really. I mean, he sings about the same thing, and people just eat it up like it's some kind of brilliant revelation, lyrically or even musically. But the thing is, I see him as just a popcorn artist. I mean, he looks sad all the time. He just sings songs that men just eat up like it's gold, when really it's stereotypical and reductive in a way. And then there's some allegations and kind of weird stuff about him as well. Like
that's the part where I'm like, yeah.
Like texting with Billie Eilish and Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, Stranger Things.
I heard about those. Like on their 18th birthday or something.
Yeah.
Like and how much more like on the nose, man? Come on.
And like the thing is, like a pattern that someone had noted that is once they turn 18 or something like that, like he just cuts off like regular communication with them.
Oh.
And don't even.
That's some Leo DiCaprio behavior.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't even get me started on how much I hated hearing the Tootsie slide back in quarantine.
I mean, those are valid reasons, to be honest. I always just kind of I like a few Drake songs, and that's about.
Wait, why didn't you like hearing the Tootsie slide?
It's Drake. In fact, And
I go
here's,
right foot, left foot. No.
I mean, the one time I could even tolerate it was when I saw Anthony Hopkins doing the Tootsie Challenge on Instagram. Yeah, I'm serious. Like he actually did it, and he did it so well.
The Tootsie slide?
Mm. And in fact, here's another tidbit of trivia about Drake. When he was on Degrassi when he was younger, like his character had gotten shot or something, and he ended up in a wheelchair. And I don't know if it took a whole season or a couple of other episodes, but here's a scene where he enters the cafeteria or school in the wheelchair and he hops up, stands straight like it's nothing. And I heard that Drake leaned on the writers or the producers to get him out of the wheelchair just so his homies wouldn't think he was soft.
Wow.
This is
that is
never
wild.
liked
Drake
trivia
with Boyce Rucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can write a whole article on just why Drake is a terrible artist overall.
Bopping it with Boyce.
I mean, now was a good song.
Yeah.
Like, because Kendrick released something like less than a day ago. Meet the Grams. I just listened to that a few hours ago. He starts just talking to his family, bro. He goes crazy.
And you know the funny part about that? I heard that he dropped that 15 minutes after Drake put out his diss.
15.
He had it ready. I heard that. Yeah, I heard he had it ready. Well, where can I hear on Kendrick's newest album?
You can just hear it on YouTube running.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta check that out. There, man. I don't know how Jake
because I haven't looked into this, man. I've just been seeing stuff about it all over the place, and that's how I know that something is like huge. Is like when I'm seeing stuff about it, because I don't keep up with like rap or the music industry at all, really. So if I'm seeing stuff like that, then it's like this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
The only stuff I see on my feed is stuff dealing with like games and like movies sometimes, because that's just like that's the realm I'm in.
But there's only maybe just 2 songs from Drake that I actually do like.
Let's hear them.
One is Finesse, which is kind of like this sad, like lovelorn song, but I mean, I almost related to it when I first heard it. And then there's probably Best I Ever Had, which is like old school Drake, where like the music video where he's the basketball coach, which in retrospect does kind of look sus.
You don't like what's that one Find Your Love or whatever?
Honestly, no.
Damn.
First I thought you were gonna say Passion Fruit.
Oh no, that one's alright to me. What about hold on, I'm coming home or whatever that song is.
That one's it's not bad. I
used to not like it because I like heard it all the time, but then once it like the hype died down, I heard it and I would like listen to it. I'd be like, this song is actually pretty good.
I feel like I only like his music maybe just when it's real, like where you can relate to it in a way.
That's fair. I can't relate to any of these guys, so it's mostly about vibes for me. I'm going off straight vibes.
And I will say Crew Love is another bop, but that's just because The Weeknd was featured on it.
Oh yeah, isn't he like your favorite artist?
He is, but based on my Spotify stats, he's kind of dwindling down a little for me.
Oh snap! Who's up now? Was it Joji?
Oh, definitely Joji and Depeche Mode.
I'm familiar with Depeche Mode.
They're like this synth pop band from the 80s, and like their music, they've just been putting out stuff that stays relevant like all the time, like up to today. And their song Angel was featured in the credits for the first Injustice game.
Oh wow.
And that's what introduced me to them way back in 2013.
I wonder if we'll ever get another one of those games.
If we do, I hope they choose a good Batman replacement actor.
True.
I mean, they could get Troy Baker. He's done it before.
Was he Batman in Telltale?
Yes, he was. He was also Batman in the Lego games. I don't know how I remember that. It really depends, because in Arkham Origins, it was Roger Craig Smith, who is Thomas from regular show, but more people will remember him as Sonic the Hedgehog. I still find that extremely funny. But Origins is, where you're playing as like a year one Batman. He's way younger. So maybe it wouldn't work, but who knows?
What era of
If it's,
Batman is like Injustice Batman?
I'd say he's like mid prime here, like kind of like I don't want to say he's in Bat God mode there, but just like he's definitely experienced.
Bat God, just like GAWD, Bat God.
Yeah, it's like this comic term, like among the fanboys on Reddit, where it's like, if Batman can escape anything, he can overcome any obstacle, no matter what, all because he has a contingency. And so, like, that kind of dubbed him Bat God if a writer portrays him in such a way like that.
That's interesting. I don't even remember. I don't even know what the stories are in Injustice. I never had it. I played it at my dad's house. I don't remember if it was Justice or Justice 2. I want to say it was the first Injustice game, but I absolutely sucked at it because, as you guys know, I'm not great at fighting games. So, kind of turned
I
me off
only
from
just
it.
into him, so I get it. You and me played it one time, the demo of the first game years ago.
Did we? I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
you and I used to just play like a bunch of random games when I went to. There was that one beat 'em
Yeah.
up game that we
Oh
played.
yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Neon. Yeah. Because like I think I tried that game before, and I was like, I know this is meant to be played with another guy. So the
Yeah.
moment that got you over, I was like, we're gonna play this. And then they had the mechanic where you healed by sharing health with the other guy, and you had to
Oh
do it by
yeah.
initiating a high five. But you could, depending on what you inputted, you could just steal health if you wanted to.
That was a fun game. I enjoyed that. I don't play a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
beat 'em ups, so I want to get more into. Cause I've played like Streets of Rage, with my dad and my brothers before, and that was really fun. So
I
I
mean,
kind of want to play that.
really, the optimal beat 'em up right now, made in as modern as possible. That's Sifu. So
Well, that's fair.
there's
I
any
finished Sifu, but my quest for the Prodigal Child trophy was kind of on hold because I just didn't have enough time to play it. And I haven't touched Sifu in a few weeks, so now I'm like afraid to. I feel like if I picked it back up, I would immediately like get back into it. I feel like I still remember how to play, but at this point, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, dang, I'm kind of rusty. So I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, no, like I remember I started playing it and I played it on like the hardest mode
You're
before
an
I could do
animal.
well.
What's going on there?
What? Look, okay, it's the optimal way to play.
The game is already hard.
But if you're excelling at it, is it really that much of a challenge, though?
Exactly. Well, I found out the answer to that question when I went back to it and realized I couldn't get past the first level. So a little bit, a little bit. It was a bit too difficult, but that just means I gotta get them.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm that filthy casual that plays games on normal. My at least my first go around. Like the times I bump up difficulty is typically if it's a game I've played at least probably twice. I'm like, okay, I want more of a challenge, so I'll bump it up.
I don't judge you for that.
Like I'll play Last of Us on the hardest difficulty or Uncharted or whatever, because I've played those games so many times over the years. Or even Mafia. Like the Mafia games aren't that hard, so I play them on like harder difficulties. But that's about it. Typically, if I'm going into a game for the first time, I just want like a nice balanced experience.
Because my thing is, some of these games, the leap from normal to hard is crazy because normal's far too easy for some games. In Kingdom Hearts, normal's far too easy. In Nier, normal's far too easy. Like they end up making a weird quantum leap from normal to hard because they don't expect you. It's almost like they don't expect you to like want something in the middle.
Yeah.
But that's why games like those Souls-like games or stuff like Sifu, those games understand difficulty scaling because it's not meant to be it's not meant to be just a fixed level that you're always at.
Yeah.
You know, you actually just made me think of something. Another great beat 'em up that was a long, long time ago. Back when I was a kid, Jet Li was my Bruce Lee. I mean, I loved Jet Li movies. I loved everything with him in it. And they came out with this beat 'em up brawler game where you get to play as him in like this crime drama. It's called Rise to Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that when I first got the game, I was terrible at it. I didn't know how to attack or anything. And I was maybe 4 years old at the time.
Oh man.
And yeah, and like I didn't even realize it until one of my uncles came over and he started playing it. But the way that you would attack was by using the right analog stick.
What?
Yeah, like you'd use it to kick, to punch, to you have like such fluid combat movement. And I think it was only on PlayStation 2, and it was just such a cinematic game emulating like those Hong Kong action thrillers, like with fixed camera angles and everything. Just a classic.
That's how you know it's an old game. If you that's the way to attack.
A right analog stick. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that anywhere else.
That's really interesting. That kind of threw me for a second. I can see how it works, but like, yeah, no, I feel like that would irritate me. Did you ever beat it?
Oh yeah, but it took me years. I mean,
Okay, I was
like
gonna say if you beat it at 4 years old, I was gonna be upset. I don't think I beat
I
any
think I
games at 4 years old. I don't even know if I played games hardly.
I
I
did, but
re-
I never got past the first level.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys okay? I always get kind of jealous when I hear people like talk about like their gaming milestones. They're like, oh, I'll never forget the first time I played a game, first time I beat a game,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm like, I don't remember those things. Like, do you guys remember that? Because I sure don't.
I think
I
trophies definitely help.
What was that, Christian?
That's a good point. He said that he thinks trophies help. Like remember that stuff. You know what I mean?
Possibly. Were those a thing back in the day though?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking like back then, yeah.
Yeah, like you're
No.
like yeah. I mean like you're like
Like achievements?
like
Yeah.
old milestones.
I remember one time. Yeah, I remember beating Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. That was monumental because our copy would like actually no, that game was just hard, dude. For me at that age, I'm not ashamed to admit. That shit was hard, dude. The last boss, like Doctor Nefarious, you got to use all these weapons, man. And my brother, when he was beating it, he struggled. And right when he's beat it, the cutscene that was playing, it froze. So he couldn't even. Yeah, he had to do it again. I remember he was like, "No," dude, he's so pissed. And I felt secondhand sting, man. I was like, "Yo, that fucking sucks, man." But I'm like, God, man, that's how we used to live, man. Memory cards and all this shit.
Yeah, that was the worst. Like your game, like just freezes out of nowhere, and you're like, "Oh crap!" And you're just sitting there, like hoping that it fixes, and it just doesn't.
Yeah, you just play the whole game. Yeah, you'll play through as much as you can. That's what we did with the PS1 for like the 1 year. I remember it. I remember like having a PS1 for like 1 year, and then like the next year, I think the PS2 came out.
I will say,
it was like 2 years later.
PS1. My first PlayStation was the PS2.
Mm-hmm. They were both really popular. It's weird. They were both like popular for similar reasons. Like they were just accessible, cheaper versions of a more expensive thing. That's why the PS2 was so successful, man. It was a DVD player. You could watch movies, and this is when DVD players were way.
Didn't PS2 have like backwards compatibility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember the PS3s after the first one. That was some of them were good, but a lot of them were like setting on fire. I don't know if you guys remember how it looked, but it was pretty chunky and meaty boy.
Yeah, wasn't that that weird design, the one where they had like the PS2 built inside the hardware or something? That was weird.
I think so. I didn't know that particular, but it looks like that. It looks like a PS3, a PS2, and a PS1. But it could play everything. It could play PS2 and PS1, and the one after that it couldn't do any of that. It could just play PS3, and that's the one I got. So I was pretty. The one I have could play PS1, but it couldn't play the 2. At that point, it's like my entire library is PS2 at this point, right? I think it's really interesting because like I'm curious to see what little kids today are going to say when they're older, because you're locked into like a console. You can't get a job. You can't just go buy a game if you want it. I remember playing the same games for like years on my DS Lite because I was just like, this is just how it is, man. Yeah, they're not gonna buy you.
I think that's why like backlogs are such an issue when you get older, because you're just like, oh, this game is on sale. I can cop that real quick. Yeah. Or like, oh, I want this
there's
game.
No.
You know, it's like you don't need. Kids, like you go on the game. You go into GameStop and they're like, oh, you can just look around. I'm like, oh, okay. Then on that rare occasion, they were like, go ahead and pick something out. I was like so excited, but like for the most part, it was you had to wait until like Christmas or birthdays.
I swear I was better. Yeah, man. I swear I was a more critical thinker as a kid, man. I swear, like, I would like being forced to like, you can only pick one game for your birthday or something. I'll be out here like making a list, bro, bullet point that shit, pros and cons. Man, should I get freaking Lego Star Wars or Dragon Ball, for my PSP, Those were the days though, man.
Yeah, nowadays we just have libraries full of games and like literally
now I can play
like if you look at like your PlayStation thing where it has all your games, and it's just like hundreds, and you're just like, holy crap, like I have all these.
I can't imagine if like my Steam catalog and like my PlayStation digital library became physical right now. Like how much space would that take up? Like even in my closet, dude. Like that shit would be packed up, dude. That would fill up like a whole side of a wall on GameStop, probably.
It's pretty cool.
I also miss being able to do cheat codes without any drawbacks, like trophies being deactivated or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I think that even during PS3, that was like specific to some games.
Like GTA 4.
Yeah,
I can completely understand it though, but it is kind of because like there are certain things where I was thinking about going back and getting the platinum for like GTA Vice City, and you know how you have to like buy properties on that game to like actually progress. I was heavily considering like doing like a money cheat or something. I'm pretty sure if I do that, then it disables like certain trophies. So I'm like, dang it, that's just like a lot of work I have to do to buy all these things.
You guys know how to. You guys are. I'm sure you guys already know about that, like a purple button or something where you can get money.
Purple button. Enlighten me.
I'm talking about, like the PlayStation rewards, where you get a trophy for something or an achievement.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I got like a season pass with that. Like I have money I'm gonna use to get Helldivers eventually. I got like $15. It was pretty dope. You can get PlayStation cards.
Are you talking about stars?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's
I barely.
that
I don't do much. I have some points on there, but I don't do much with it.
keep an eye out, man. I got like $35 in total.
Holy crap!
Yeah, and yeah, dude, you just convert as many points as you can into the $20 one, and then just put that towards any game you want. We got to get on Helldivers with Boyce, man. Seriously, that game is still going. It hasn't stopped. I keep hearing about it. I'm really impressed. PlayStation's never really had like a live service game, yeah, that's been so successful.
We also should try out Fallout 76. I'm down for that.
We should, yeah. That whole yeah. That's something else I was thinking about earlier when we were talking, like Fallout, man.
Yeah, because I think it's sitting in my library right now. I haven't touched it.
So. I really feel like Last of Us really was, but this really is like an experiment. Like first time we've seen like an original story for like a video game that's bringing so much popularity to games, And I'm just like, I was reading on Reddit, dude, this dude's dad, older dude, he watched the show. Next thing you know, he got an Xbox. He helped his dad. He hooked it up for his dad. He put in all the cheats, right? So all he wants to do is walk around the wasteland in power armor and shoot things with lasers. Yeah, so I'm just thinking, man, could my dad possibly like be like, man, I gotta play Last. He watched Last of Us, and I didn't even know, man. He told me after the fact that I saw it.
What's funny
is crazy, man.
My dad is like a huge gamer, so like he's in the know about a lot of stuff. Like whenever we call and like catch up, a lot of our conversation consists of like, oh, what you been playing or what you been up to, all that stuff. And he's up with the trends. Like he's always playing like the newest stuff. He knows all about Last of Us. I think the first time I played Last of Us was with him. Like a lot of my like love for, I think that's where a lot of my love for like Uncharted and Last of Us comes from. It's because those are games that for us like kind of experiencing together and him like kind of introducing me to that.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I think
he's a huge Fallout guy too. Like he plays Fallout a lot. He does like mods and like all that stuff.
So he was hyped. So he's been real happy.
I haven't talked to him about it though. I haven't asked him if he's watched the show, but I'm sure he has. I'm sure
he's probably ecstatic, man. I'll be pissing with joy right now, man. If I was like a diehard.
It's actually funny that you mentioned Helldivers because I got a tweet notification from Wario, and he said that the reviews on it on Steam are going from, well, mostly negative and mixed at the moment because of the new PSN requirement.
Yeah. I don't know.
I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I mean, for me, I'll take 5 seconds because, I use them both, but I don't know. For some people to raise up that much, I don't know, like what the bigger, there clearly is like an issue that they have a problem with, that they're like willing to review bomb, this game that they've been singing high praises for like what? How long has it been out now? Like 3 months?
Just about.
Yeah, man. So this game just came out, and it's like they've been doing real good. Now you want to review bomb? I don't know. It feels like a small thing. It's an annoyance, but I mean, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, right?
Yeah, and plus, I mean, it kind of does make sense because PlayStation is the more popular console. Like the average gamer is going to have a PlayStation compared to Steam.
Yeah. And like, I mean, don't you want to? I mean, doesn't this mean? What does this mean for the future? Is there cross play already or no?
I think there is.
Okay, so yeah, it's just gonna make it easier to like find a match. Wasn't there like a whole thing about waiting to find a match?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't there like you had to wait like people were waiting for like 2 hours to get into the lobby. I don't know, man. I don't know if it affects that at all, but if it does, I mean, this has got to help that. This has got to help with problems like that, right? Like keep the databases organized. Whatever's going on there, hopefully the criticism dies down like by next week.
Plus, I think. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Plus, I think criticism like towards games nowadays, it feels more so about like the mechanics rather than the actual experience of it. Like people saying what they don't like rather than what's wrong. But then I guess
Yeah.
it can be both of those things.
I don't know, but like these issues aren't from the guy at Arrowhead, right? This is like Steam and PSN. So hopefully they don't. They're not. They're. I don't think they're going to be that affected. I don't think that the numbers. Actually, I think I already heard about this already. I don't think the numbers are really been that affected. It'll be like an annoyance, but nothing that they can't come back from. I mean, and this game has only been out for 3 months. I wonder how much. I wonder how. They haven't said a lot, right? I know there's like stuff they're trying to release, like an exoskeleton. It's pretty mind blowing that Destiny's been going on since like Destiny 2's been going on since like 2014. That was like my freshman year of high school.
Isn't that
Jeez.
ending soon? Or did it already?
Yeah.
Did it already end with the last update or whatever?
It's about to end with like this last update. But I just like those two games. They go in hand conversation because that's like the only real. I feel like that's the only real like a live service game that's ever mentioned as being really successful. Right. I don't know if Diablo is a part of that conversation like it used to be. I know it's Diablo 4 is still out. They're obviously going to fix that, right? But like this game is taking. I mean, like to go to be that long lasting. It almost made me envious because, like, man, I've had that game on my like library because they just always put it out for free, So like, I'm just curious to see how, like, talk to one of those players to see how it's evolved. Just imagining being a part of that community. It's like, what if we've had one Call of Duty they just updated, for 10 years or whatever, but instead that's obviously not the case, right? But I don't know, is Helldivers still going to follow that?
I mean, realistically, with COD,
yeah,
like I feel like COD is way too profitable for them to do that. Like COD sales are through the roof, whether the game is good or not. So it's like if they wouldn't give up like annual releases for a live service.
COD. Yeah, and like I guess that makes sense. Destiny can't do that. I guess you're right. It's the opposite, right? Like if you're super duper successful, there'd probably be like Destiny 8 by now, right? But I don't know. Bungie, they jumped ship to make this, and now they're already jumping on to make a PlayStation marathon. That's going to be live service. And that's actually like an old IP apparently. And I don't know much about it at all. I don't know if you guys do. You guys have any thoughts about that?
I don't know much about it. I have a question though. You just made me think of this. Do you guys think that Bungie played a role in the factions, like multiplayer, getting canceled? Because I kind of do. I ain't gonna lie.
Why do you think?
Because I'm pretty sure I know Bungie. I think they were consulting with Naughty Dog on like said multi after they bought, like, Sony acquired Bungie. I think they were consulting with Naughty Dog about the game because they needed to bring in, like, I guess, multiplayer experts.
They're smart, yeah.
Even though Naughty Dog has made pretty good multiplayer before.
Yeah,
I'm not really
it was
sure
really good in the first one.
But apparently Bungie was saying, "Oh, the game isn't where it needs to be." Like, I can understand it because Naughty Dog had never done anything quite as ambitious as that with their multiplayers before. So I guess I can kind of understand that. But from like reports I heard, Bungie was saying, "Oh, the game isn't where it needs to be," and that's part of why it was like delayed that one. Well, not one time, but one of the delays is what like was caused by that, and then like I guess like a few months later, it feels like it's like, oh, it's canceled, and so I was just like, I feel like there has to be a correlation there. I don't know.
I could see that. Mostly just because, like, Bungie, they're pretty much up top when it comes to multiplayer with Halo and Destiny, and Naughty Dog, with it being their first time, like, they may have some ideas that may or may not have worked on paper for the amount of scale they wanted to jump to for factions. So I could see it as that, like, a last minute cancellation.
Yeah, I think they were just honestly trying to do too much. I feel like if they would have done like the no return mode, if they would have done something like that but made it more small scale like the first factions. Mind you, I didn't get into factions like that. The only time I played factions was really because there were trophies tied to it, and I was trying to get Platinum The Last of Us remastered, which I never did, by the way, because I didn't feel like getting into factions. But I've heard it's really, really good. A lot of people really love that multiplayer. And I was actually kind of looking forward to you were into it, Eric?
I played it a couple times, and from what I played, even though I kind of sucked, it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, it was bad.
I was it was it's really realistic.
Yeah, I like The Last of Us Part 2's gameplay. I mean, I like the first game's gameplay, but The Last of Us 2's gameplay in a multiplayer, I was like, I'll be down for that. So I was actually kind of looking forward to it. So it's a little disappointing that it was canceled, but especially when you play No Return. I don't know if you guys have gotten into it, but like when you play No Return,
I got you.
It's just like, dude, this could have been. It's literally the same like skeleton as like a multiplayer mode. So
I gotta play. I know.
I don't really know what they were doing there.
That combat is very satisfying. So
yeah, it's like actual survival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
it's you played it too, Boyce?
Yeah.
Even on normal, it's like pretty challenging. Like
so you
only beaten the boss
are there unique?
One time.
Oh, there's a boss? Or are there different bosses?
Basically, you go through different. It's almost like a roguelike kind of mode where you like go through different like game modes and stages, and then when you get to the end, you have to fight a boss and like use all the stuff you've acquired over the course of your run. And I've only beaten.
You better not suck.
Right? That's it. I've tried other characters
because you have different loadouts.
Yeah, the characters have different like perks and all that stuff, but. Yeah, and then you can choose like what guns you pick up and keep over the course of. It's really about strategize, especially if you know what to expect from the boss. Then you can like better prepare for it. Like when I first played as Dina and I made it to the boss, I didn't know what they were gonna throw at me, so I was like, "Oh crap!" I didn't know. I was very ill prepared. Versus like, if I go in with that knowledge, I'll know. Oh, I should have these, or I should have this weapon for when I get there, so I can deal with this and like. All that stuff. It's very, very interesting. I haven't played it in a while, but it was very fun when I was into it.
All right. Are the animations unique to each character, like Joel and?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, like when you play as like Joel and Tommy, I think the animations are. I think they pretty much reuse Abby's animations for like the masculine characters, and then like for the women, it's
soldier type, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like Ellie. I feel like Ellie and Dina are almost like identical.
Okay. So it's just the voices is different.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
Unfortunately, Joel is not a Dodger.
Oh yeah, he's not.
Didn't work out well for him. We gotta stay consistent, I guess, because I feel like if they'd made him dodge, people would have been so mad about like the Last of Us Part 1 remake. They'd be like, "Oh, but you didn't want to put it in that game."
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. He was always like a slower pace, but just as effective. That really does bring me to these these other thoughts, man. Not playing This is just random, but how do you guys feel about that rated R and Ninja Turtles movie?
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
It's like a one and
I read The Last Ronin. I still gotta read that. I'm not too familiar with the source.
I did too. Yeah, I gotta read too, but I mean, how you like? That's just I don't know. That feels like another. What's it like? First timer. Just like I don't know. It just feels kind of like just crazy that's even happening.
Yeah, because
You gotta watch
get. I mean, I'm trying to think because when was that last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? Was that last year that came out?
Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah, that was really
Mhm.
good. I really like that. I really like TMNT, like the one from 2007. I've seen like the
I
old
remember
80s
that. I
ones a
fuck with it.
little bit. I'm not super into those. I'll say I like the first Michael Bay, like the Michael Bay produced one, the first one. I like that. I didn't see the Out of the Shadows. I didn't really see a lot of that one. But I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies can be pretty good. So if we're getting one that's rated R, I think that could be really, really cool. Cause I don't think we've seen that.
That's really, and it's live action, so I'm curious to see, man. We haven't seen like a proper live action, like, because I really feel like they don't want to mess this up anymore because they have the success they had with this animated one. I don't know, man. I feel like they're going to try to create accurate designs. So I just really want to see what they look like,
Yeah.
They didn't look.
I think
they looked
real. Yeah, I think they'll look cool. They won't look like cheesy like
the
they
whole
look in the 80s. They won't look over the top like they do in the Michael Bay ones.
Actually,
I think they'll look pretty cool.
Yeah, all things considering, man. Like, I guess that might be popular enough to be its own Ninja Turtles like IP, man. They're gonna have like its own Last Ronin franchise, man. Because it's getting a game too.
Yeah.
It's also got two.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I was gonna say it's actually even got 2 sequel series. The comic does.
Oh wow.
2 out or one's already been out and they're making another?
Oh, one series is already out, which kind of acts like a prequel and a sequel to The Lone Turtle. And then there's one that's a straight sequel to the original that's out right now.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like that's already confirms it, man. We got to get on that Last Ronin train, dude.
I'm guessing they'll draw from like all that. Assuming.
I'm sure the game will cover everything, man. Let's just wait for the game, dude.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the best way
this summer. Because when was the last?
Maybe
when did they
Comic-Con.
put out that teaser? How long ago was that? I don't remember.
Was it last fall or at a THQ event?
Yeah.
So. It's been a while, so I think
How do you guys feel about Arkham Shadow? You guys hyped for
that? I was excited when I got the notification, but once I actually read it, I just thought I'll go on about my day.
I'm hyped. I got my MetaQuest, bro. I'm hyped as fuck, dude. I don't even care, bro. This shit's gonna be fun, man. Look, man, Take it like this. Arkham is still around. All right. Arkham is still an IP. And whatever happened in Suicide Squad, forget all that. All right, because if this goes well enough, man, I don't know, man. Maybe we actually get an Origins too, man. Who knows?
Is it being developed?
Wouldn't that be nice? I think it's Warner Bros. Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, they did Origins, which people still.
Origins is good. Origins is good. So
it had a good story. We can agree it had a good story. But hey, man, it's about time, man. We're getting real tired.
Yeah,
we have this new PS Unreal Engine. We have
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for it, and before I knew it was VR, I was like, "Oh snap!" And then I remember seeing like the VR pop up,
and then you're gone, and the chair disappeared.
No,
you weren't even in the room.
I'm not like a huge Arkham guy anyway, but like I remember I saw the VR, and I was like, Arkham in VR. I was like, Eric's gonna love this. I was thinking, man, I already know hyped for this.
I'm hyped, bro. I'm gonna be punching people with. I'm gonna punch my wall on accident. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be fun. I'm telling you, man, Assassin's Creed is fun, man.
The safe zone thing that.
Yeah. I would hope so, man. It's like the only
VR.
I'm about to say, dude, because like if it didn't, bro, but the PlayStation one did, and mine's the one that's like fully portable. That's a problem. You just go wherever you want, man, and then you just. But I am surprised that I don't know how it's going to look technologically because I mean RE4, I mean the PlayStation one, I mean those graphics look insane, so it can't hold up to that. So it might look kind of like I don't know. We'll see. We haven't seen someone take full advantage of this tech. I don't think we will for a while. I mean, especially now with this disheartening news with Apple, the Apple Vision. How do you feel about that, Boyce?
What's the news on Apple Vision?
Yeah, how like the sales are kind of not where they should, or I don't know if they are where they should be at, but they're just low.
I could see that because it's pretty expensive, like very pricey, and like
Yeah.
when you're given a demonstration, it just sets you up for these high expectations with the tech, and once you actually invest the money in it and it doesn't have like that kind of return or comeback that you're expecting, I think that's a realistic outcome.
Yeah. So even if it did like have an effect with you, you don't think that it's enough for you to go
Uh,
out there and
I don't think it would. I mean, and this might seem so sentimental, like the part that really got me when I did the demonstration was the fact that you could recapture memories and stuff like that. And for me, with that kind of simplicity, it kind of takes away from the overall feeling of experience with other stuff, especially with games.
Mhm. Especially if you're in a room right with other people playing a game,
Yeah.
it can be a little bit just like isolating,
hmm
but not like in a fun way, right?
Yeah, not exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool in concept and sounds cool on paper, but like
Yeah.
nothing beats the old feeling.
Yeah. There's nothing like not having to put a helmet on.
I mean, still, there's only one game that I'd be willing to try out AF, I mean VR for, and that's
Portal.
Hitman 3.
Wow.
Like, literally, that'd be the ultimate James Bond simulator right there.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised they
I'm glad that you
haven't capitalized
because
on
when you
it.
said it, yeah,
Yeah,
on
I'm
James
surprised they
Bond and
haven't made
VR,
a wait. I forgot.
they're
Isn't
making a one, right?
yeah, the same people who made Hitman are making James Bond. I forgot about that.
Yep, and it's been almost 4 years since that
Has it
announcement.
has it really been?
No,
Yeah, it was
What was wasn't it announced at the same time as Indiana Jones?
back in fall 2020.
dang, dude, are you kidding?
No.
So we must have got the when did the trailer come out? Because they put out a little teaser, right?
Yeah, like it
Don't tell me that
was,
happened at the same time. The trailer came after, right?
gosh, I know Hitman 3 dropped in 2021 and then they announced 007 back in 2020. I remember because I was staying at my first apartment in Wilmington when it dropped.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, there's no way that was that long ago. Because I remember seeing like the little teaser. I don't know, if it was an image or trailer. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, with the gun barrel
Yeah,
sequence and then the title at the moment being Project 007.
yeah, I remember
And
seeing
I
that. That doesn't feel like that was
and
that long ago though. Holy shit.
and every few months, the developers IO Interactive, like they put out these job postings like for people to come work on the game. Like I know they got a mission developer who worked on some pretty more popular titles. I can't remember which ones they were, but it almost seems like they want to really jump out of the kind of standard of like serialized sandbox mode that they set out to do with Hitman and jump more to like that immersive Bond experience that could hopefully be comparable with something like Spider-Man or even the original Bond games from the 2000s.
What do you mean by Spider-Man?
Like kind of like how you have that licensed property and you have that kind of creative freedom to do whatever you want with it and
Mhm.
build your own world with your own rules, your own immersion while still sticking true to the heart and soul of the character.
But having your own universe. Yeah. Do you,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Like, what do you mean gameplay wise? You think it'll be like Uncharted?
Uh I feel like it could potentially have the scale of Uncharted, but if they were to take the Bond, because there's cinematic Bond and there's book Bond, and the movies deviate so wildly in scale at times because at the heart of the source material, Bond is just a cold-hearted assassin with stoicness, and he always finds himself in these pulpy situations, and he's vulnerable. And I could see them going more so of that just based off Hitman style, as opposed to the more superheroic Bond you have in the blockbuster films of Roger Moore. Like, I feel like that's more in line with Uncharted in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
I was just gonna say I'm intrigued by this as I played one Bond game back in the day. I couldn't tell you what it was. It was on PS2, and I remember playing it, having a good time with it, but I never beat it because it was like I thought it was pretty hard. I ain't gonna lie. But I am not like a huge Bond like fan. Like the only ones I've seen are Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Those are literally the only two James Bond movies I've ever seen. But I am really, really intrigued to see what they do with this game.
I think 007's Nightfire on PS2, that was one of the first ever video games I played when I was like 4.
I remember that. It's the blue box, right?
Yep, first person shooter based on Pierce Brosnan's Bond.
Yeah, the one I
I
played
think he had
wasn't
like
first
the
person.
most
I remember that. It was like a third person game.
That
everything or
So I know
nothing,
it
man.
wasn't like
That's
GoldenEye or anything like that.
from Russia with Love, Sean Connery, kind of that 60s retro style.
It's possible. I really couldn't tell you.
um,
I might have to look up like Bond games and see if anything.
there's one that was like genuinely good. That was third person. I have it. So it was everything or nothing. And it was Pierce Brosnan, and it was a game only. It was original game. Willem Dafoe was in it, and I don't know. That game was. I just remember like I went to Canada. And my uncle had a PS2 there, and we played it there. Like me and my brothers. That's all we did is play that in Tekken 4. Those are like the games they had. But man, was it fun!
That game could have easily been Brosnan's fifth and final movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it had the makings of it. You have Willem
What's the name of that
Dafoe,
model too? She's a very famous model. Was she
uh,
married? She was married to Seal, I think.
Heidi Klum.
Yeah, she's in it too. She's like one of the girls.
And then they had Shannon Elizabeth from American Pie, and plus the singer Maya.
I think it's really, I think it's really cool and kind of funny how, like the games for some movies will have like even bigger stars. It's just like a tie-in game.
And when they did From Russia with Love, they actually got Sean Connery while he was
To
in
voice,
his 70s or 60s to reprise his role as Bond.
he's like, well, who am I kidding, man? I can't say no to this. My grandkids will love this. That's what he's thinking, man. I'm surprised he hasn't been introduced in Fortnite yet. They're probably fighting off the Epic Games, like businessmen. You can't have Bond, dude. Bond has to stay serious.
The Bond rights are such a tricky limbo because Amazon owns MGM now, and so they kind of have the rights to Bond in a way.
Who do
And
you
it,
guys
it
want?
even,
Sorry, boys.
oh, sorry. Oh, and like even then, it took maybe almost 40 years to get Bond's arch nemesis Blofeld back on the big screen.
Damn it, dude.
I have a question. Who do you guys want to play? I don't know if this is confirmed or not. I don't really keep up with it, but who do you guys want after Daniel Craig now that he's done?
Well, there's a lot of talk been about Aaron Taylor Johnson. I myself, I'm not particular. He's very talented, but I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really see it. I guess he could, but he's just, I don't know. We need someone that looks older. I don't know. I don't know if he needs to look. He doesn't need to look the same. I was just thinking of this actor randomly today, man. I don't know why. What's his name? The dude from Bridgerton. I think he'd be good.
What character does he play?
He plays the main guy, the love interest, the first season. But I don't know. He has like he's in the movie with Ryan Gosling. I think so. Yes. And he's in that movie that Ryan Gosling was in on Netflix. He looks
The Gray
kind of cold.
Man.
Yes, he's in that. I think that he'd be good.
I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
He's British. I think he'd be good if we're going in a new direction, you know. And we're trying to make trying to say, look, we're
I think it's Rajay Jean Page. Rajay Jean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I like him. I think that he would be good. But
I could see it.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna go with like traditional, I don't know. I guess what books. I guess Aaron Taylor Johnson would do a good job because what's the Bullet Train with Brad Pitt? I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
He's really cold like that, and I think that's important. What you said, Boyce. There's another actor that already played him. He only played him for like 2 films, I think, but
Timothy
he was already.
Dalton.
Yes, exactly correct. That's exactly him. That did a really good job of doing what Daniel Craig was doing. Like I feel like that would be because he is kind of like that in the first one in Casino, but I don't know. I feel like that we need more of that because you're right. He's not really likable. He is, but that's just my thoughts on what you guys think.
Screw all that, dude.
Yeah,
I want a diversity hire. I want Idris Elba in there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I actually do want.
We go with.
I was joking about the diversity hire.
That's why I love Cyberpunk. Well, Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, he's like James Bond there. Yeah, he's like if he was Bond.
And
I would like it. Yeah, I would like it, but let's be realistic. Just won't. He's just too like. We need someone that can last. You know, like I love Hugh Jackman, but let's be real. You know, I'm concerned if he really thinks he can be Wolverine much longer. You know. So I feel like someone not too young, and they're like I don't know, like exactly 30.
I think Taylor Johnson is such a healthy choice in a way, but I almost want someone who's a little more less known just because of what we got with Daniel Craig. But if I had to choose someone, I guess I would say Daniel Kaluuya. I think he could be great. And also my pick years ago, which obviously won't happen now because I think they're just too famous and a bit on the older side. But Michael Fassbender, like that's who I thought could have been great such a long time ago.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's great in The Killer. Honestly, Agent 47 vibes with that one.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that film. He sounds just like Agent. I was like, he sounds like it, man. But I would say John David Washington.
Oh yeah,
but he'd have to do an accent. Is the thing.
In fact, I think, of course, I know that they want to carry a franchise with someone who can do like maybe 4+ movies, but I wouldn't even be mad if they did like a short-term approach like Timothy Dalton did, even though that wasn't exactly like planned initially. Like, I wouldn't even be mad if it was like 2 or 3 films with Cillian Murphy starring, directed by Christopher Nolan or whomever.
Did you hear about Nolan? Did we already talk about the Nolan period Bond film?
Oh, but I'd heard about that and I loved it.
Wait, I didn't hear anything. Hang on, what is this?
Yeah, so like basically Nolan. I don't know, boys. You could explain it better.
So right off the back of Oppenheimer, like Nolan has been like asked for so many years, like if he would do a Bond movie, and he would want to do one, but he's just not gonna do one. But the rumor that was going around recently was that he would do like 2 or 3 films and just do it as a period piece, and perhaps even cast someone like Cillian Murphy or Tom Hardy, but because of, well, Nolan being Nolan and being more so into his original works now, it likely won't come to be at all.
Come on, if you can do 3 Batman movies and 2 historical epics, you can do a couple of James Bond movies. Come on, Nolan.
Yeah, like I mean, of course, like Craig's Bond got well, they made him seem more older than he actually was too quickly. Like he's in his prime in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, and then they have him weary in Skyfall, which only came out 4 years after Quantum. It's so I could see why they'd want someone more young and sprite to bring that energy that feels more so aligned with contemporary times of the 2020s. But I'd really love to see what they could do if they go back in time and like portray Bond as he was.
Yeah, I think it would certainly be a change pace from what we've been at recently.
In
I
fact,
mean,
oh, sorry. No, you.
I was gonna say like yeah, like even like I don't know what it is, but I think Joker's the only one really that really committed to because Batman was rumored to be like in the '90s for a good minute, and I know there's other films they've been like, man, that actually is taking place in the night. I think Batgirl they said the same thing. It takes place in the '90s or the '80s because Mike Keaton's in it, but I don't know if there needs. It's interesting that there's this focus on timepieces, and I don't think that it's necessarily wrong or bad. I think that there's definitely something there. It's very intriguing, especially with like James Bond. I've always liked how like Indiana Jones takes place during like World War II. You know, like that's the thing that I forget, and then I'll watch it. I'm like, oh yeah, I forget it takes place.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. It just makes it feel like different. And for James Bond, that takes place. Honestly, like what we've been doing right now is the twist, making it modern when in reality it's not. Right? If we're going super meta, but I mean, like, I know what you mean, right? I would like if he, because it's true. I don't know. It's weird for him to say that because literally the Prestige is based off of a book. So
Oh, I didn't know
that's
that.
like,
I thought that was him.
no, dude, that was not like an original story. He took that and he
Okay.
made it original.
Well,
That's what he does,
add it to the list.
right?
Well, that's
Yeah, I
true
mean,
because I
no,
can think of
it's
Inception, right? He was inspired by what was that anime Paprika? So
yeah,
Mhm.
he's
and
not the most
it's
original, like
I mean, let's be careful now. We don't want Nolan to hear it. No, I'm playing.
Oh,
It's,
shout out to Christopher Nolan, friend of the show.
no one's gonna randomly. I'm friend of the show. No, he's gonna hear. He's gonna hear this. No, it's in your favor though. It really is that defense though. For him to be like say his injury, I understand his time is limited, right? But and yeah, to do maybe one film because 3 Bond films that's gonna be a chunk of years, right?
Yeah.
To let him do one, that might be something interesting. But I mean, I don't know, man. I guess I don't know how many books there are of Bond, but that in itself kind of presents its own kind of issue, right? He's like he's a storied character that has an end, right, to his books. Did he have a planned end, or did he just author die? Go ahead, boys.
There's a fun fact to that. So, like, from Russia with Love, I think that was the sixth book. Like, the writer initially planned for Bond to be killed off in that, and like at the end, he was poisoned by the lady with the poison tip shoe, and like his fate was just up in the air. But then the writer, he just kept going.
He's like, no, I got another one.
Yeah,
And then he just kept going.
yeah, and then after he died, people picked up the series and started writing their own takes on Bond. And some of them kind of, there was one that was a reboot set in modern times that came out back in 2009 or 10. And then, like so many other writers, extend to the original lore by making a prequel to Casino Royale or even the young Bond novels that are literally young adult novels featuring Bond, like in his adolescence.
So so the rights are all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Then they even tried to do a spin-off with other Double O agents in a book, and that kind of got more mixed reviews.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, that's.
Did it?
I always forget that. Like, I always even forget that they were books. Genuinely.
I didn't know there was a young adult franchise.
Yeah, called
Did
he Young Bond.
Which
well,
I find it
they,
very, very impressive that you have seen every last Bond movie.
Actually,
that is very impressive, man.
about that.
Because like actually, I'm not crazy. I ain't got all the time for that, man. No, there's like 12 of those. They're all 3 hours long.
I just grew up loving Bond so much as a kid. Like I loved the car. I loved that he always wore a suit and tie. I mean, heck, look at me wearing a suit and tie on campus every other day.
That's so true, man.
And really just it's crazy to think how much like he just carries on from generation to generation. And before Craig, it was mostly just all one single canon, like the same guy in a way.
Yeah. Who? Bronson.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was. He was in all. He was in so many games, man. He was the face of everything. Like I don't even think Craig has had that much exposure, man. He didn't have as many games. And one of the games was weird. And people complained that they replaced Brosnan with Craig Goldeneye. They made a remake, and it had Craig, and it was just weird. But I mean, the game was fine, but I think that's funny. But were any of the movies? I want to ask real quick before I forget. Were any of the movies based on any of these books, or were they all by the OG author?
Oh, most of the movies are based on the books, like everything from Doctor No to gosh, Doctor
And
No
Craig.
to yeah, to the Living Daylights, like those are all the book titles. Brosnan didn't use any of them, and the
Right.
only ones that were actually books on Craig's end were Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. But the story of Quantum of Solace, it's much, much different. It's a short story that's a conversation between Bond and a politician.
Really? So it's like more like an A24 art film than what it was.
Oh yeah, like
That sounds more interesting too, honestly.
and there's still a few titles of the books that haven't even been used for the movies yet.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
By the original author.
yeah. Like there's three or four of them, I think. One is called The Property of a Lady. The second is Risico, which was rumored to be a game that would be a sequel to one of Craig's games back then. And then
That sounds
there's,
dope. That's a cool name.
yeah. And the Hildbrand Rarity, which I think was about a fish or something like that, that was rare to Hildbrand Estate.
Did you read any of them?
I read Quantum of Solace a long time ago in middle school, and that one wasn't really
Yes.
more action driven, just like a short character centric conversation.
Is it like about politics?
Oh no, actually it was about love, I think. Like Bond was talking to this politician who was telling him the story of him and his wife, and Bond was just listening to it, and it's like the title of Quantum of Solace translates to amount of comfort. So I think it was really just honing in on that vulnerability of Bond.
Yeah. Maybe how he uses a woman for like comfort, like that's why he sleeps around, I guess.
Oh yeah,
It's
and I
like
mean,
you
uh,
can't really get attached, right?
right, and he only really got attached to maybe three Bond women from what I remember in the movies.
I remember the film, the Casino Royale. I remember I almost didn't want to cry when I saw a friend and their family, because it really did hone in on. She had a unique name too, right? I feel like he loved her the most. I
Vesper.
want to say, yeah. Did he love her the most of all of them?
He did, but she also taught him his most important lesson.
Never fall in love, right?
Oh, well, not to ever trust anyone, really, in the world of
That's
espionage.
crazy. Isn't is that the first story ever, or like chronologically it's supposed to be, but it wasn't the first one written.
Oh, yeah, that is the very first Bond story written.
So it's the first one and the first like in his timeline, or it's like no, like oh the second book was about his first mission?
Like, I think that initially in the books, it was just Bond's. It was another mission for Bond, but he was still kind of early in his tenure as a double O agent. While in the movies,
Okay.
they kind of retooled it to be Bond, like Craig's Bond's first time as a double O in the vein
Mm-hmm.
of Batman Begins.
That's interesting.
They
Really.
yeah they retooled it to be an origin story.
Yeah,
That is
and
interesting.
I
you
love
actually
how
want to know.
I love how Boyce is just like a James Bond encyclopedia, and we're just picking his brain right now.
He just yeah, dude. This just became like a James Bond like a lore episode. I'm loving it though, dude.
Yeah,
It
what
really
were you
that
saying, Boyce?
And you
yeah.
actually want to know a fun bit of trivia about Casino Royale?
What's that?
Tarantino wanted to do a version of it.
What?
Like
Oh
his
my
take
god.
was gonna be he wanted to shoot it in black and white, and he wanted to have Pierce Brosnan in it, but the way he was gonna do it was make it a period piece set after the events of On Her Majesty's Secret Service where Bond lost his wife. And of course it would have been rated R and likely even bloodier. I'm sure you remember that torture scene, Eric.
Yeah, I genuinely I'm trying
Uh,
to think of it, and I'm just like
I
a
remember.
Tarantino 007 movie. I don't, cause I mean, I don't. Obviously, he could alter his like style, but like I just don't see it. I
Mhm.
don't know. I find it kind of hard to envision that.
I kind of envision it being somewhat similar to Deathloop in a way.
Actually, yeah, I could see that. Deathloop definitely gave Tarantino vibes, like the trailers did at least.
Yeah.
That kind of okay. I had I told Eric this, but I had a Q&A question for last week, but I kind of wanted to hold off until we were all here, and I think I want to go ahead and ask it because it's like all this movie talk is like perfect for this. But I wanted to ask
Mhm.
first off. Let me preface, Boyce, would you consider yourself a cinephile?
Almost definitely.
Yeah, I genuinely I feel like you've seen like the most movies of like anybody I've ever met in my life. You're just like it feels like you've seen like everything, but I just find that very interesting. You're like a Hideo Kojima out here, just devouring movies.
Thank you. In fact, I actually tell the people at work, like, because they also like tell me how much of a cinephile I am. I tell them that if like with film majors, and I'm not gonna point anyone out or anything, and no offense to all film majors, but I say that we're kind of like Viltrumites in a way. Like, I mean, some of us have like a certain level of knowledge of film and stuff that we've watched, while others don't. And when we start debating film, like it literally turns, it almost feels like it's escalating into a dogfight verbally in a way.
Yeah, I learned early on to just kind of stay in my own lane because because the thing about me is I feel like I'm in this weird like in between of like I am more knowledgeable than like the average person, so it's kind of harder for me to like talk to like just regular casual people about movies because there comes a point where I like know too much and they're like but then it's like they're like hardcore people who I'm like I'll have a conversation with them and then they'll say something I'm like so it's like it's hard for me to really like that's why I feel like I talk like more games than like movies because it's hard for me to like really find that like sweet spot of like people who kind of
Yes,
share that
that middle
same
ground.
yeah.
And there's such some people are such absolutists too. Like they'll like discount, like for instance, say something like, "Oh yeah, The Last Jedi is terrible," or "Oh, Justice League is just terrible." Like almost like treating their take as the one genuine take without consideration for the factors that it has going for it that's actually good.
So what I'm
Yeah,
hearing is you like the Last Jedi.
yeah.
Oh, I only watched it once, and that it was like in theaters, but I was like in the very front row, so I had to tilt my head. So I'd say my experience with it was but I'd be willing to give it another go. I mean, I got a free 4K copy of it from Disney
Oh,
months
nice.
back. Yeah.
I've only seen it once myself, but didn't I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. Like I can recognize some of the faults, but overall I like it. I think 2 out of 3 of the Disney movies are good, if I'm being honest.
Uh, I also feel like I think I'm too much of a cynic with humor in movies because, I mean, with Age of Ultron, I ever only saw that the one time, and when I was in high school, I told people it has too many jokes in it,
That's
and
fair.
that's kind of how I felt with The Last Jedi, like Luke drinking the milk or Luke throwing out his father's lightsaber like it's nothing.
Yeah, I will say I was kind of disappointed by Luke in that movie. I ain't gonna lie.
And then I heard a take from Mark, like who gave me an interesting take on it. Like, if you were to view it as because another complaint I had with it was there was no actual real lightsaber duel in it. But if you take it as this deviational take, like separate from Star Wars, like as this story stands alone by itself without any ties to the franchise, then it may actually be a good movie. I mean, it definitely is production wise.
Well, I don't think that because I like Eric and I were having this conversation last week about like Assassin's Creed, right? Like I don't
Mm.
think like we can really. I don't think that's fair to really like separate it from that Star Wars. If it's it's part of this. It's a pretty important part of the Skywalker saga. So it's like yeah, we can look at it and be like, oh, it does a lot of these things well. But in terms of Star Wars, I think that's a huge thing to take into consideration. And like I said,
Mhm.
even with that, I still like the movie. I think Rise of Skywalker is where they really faltered.
Most definitely.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker is when they like they pull the whole "oh, I have a kid" thing, like with like Lando. Like when you start doing things like that, I don't know. And your last film too, it's just like feels like you're pulling plot lines out of the air.
Yeah,
It even feels like Disney. I think it didn't feel right for them to actually end the saga right there. Like, I don't think Disney should have even
absolutely
had
not.
the
No.
right to end it like that. Like,
I don't think
literally. Oh, what was that?
I'm sorry. What was it that she said?
Oh, I don't think Disney really even had the right to end the Skywalker saga just right there at 12. I mean, 9.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to do. And then now they're saying that Ray's gonna get another series.
And just the whole entire message of that, I was hoping for her to say Palpatine because, I mean, wasn't the whole theme of Star Wars like a hero could be anyone, like whether you're a Force user or not, and just staying true to yourself? And then just so she doesn't have to live with the stain, she takes on the Skywalker name.
True. I never
Yeah,
thought about that actually.
I just really wish that we had known from the first movie that she was a Palpatine. You know,
Yeah, it
I
would have
just
been
feel like
better
it
if
would.
we had somehow had the knowledge, but she didn't.
Yeah. Even then, I kind of wish that she knew too, and it was just like I don't know. I don't know. There's just so many weird things that they did. What did you guys feel about the romance
What with
Which one?
her and
with
Kylo?
Ray? Ray, yeah, Ray and
Absolutely
Kylo. How
not.
do you
No,
guys?
I hated that. I hated that.
Yeah,
I
I
think
yeah no.
it
I
felt
liked
like.
when
Go ahead, boys.
Oh, sorry. I liked when they teased it a bit in the first one, like that game of cat and mouse between them and interrogation, like that tension.
Yeah,
Wait,
I don't
that
know
was
that.
that in? I thought that was in Last Jedi that they did that. Or wait,
Oh,
They do, no, they
shirtless
do that.
Ren.
yeah.
No, no, yeah. The first one is when he tortures her. Yeah, that did not make me think they're so cute together. I didn't. I thought
Yeah,
like,
I don't
this
know. Like
guy's.
I just it didn't. None of their interactions really gave me that
It just felt very.
vibe, man, at all.
Like the first one made it toxic, but after that, I understood. Like the way he was carrying her was when I was like, yeah, that's very Beauty and the Beast kind of like the bridal carry. You know, like the way he was treating her when he actually had to touch her was gentle. And I thought this is back when there were so many theories, right? And I think the most popular were that they were related. And actually that, like I don't know that they were I don't know. I think the most it was cousins, but that was what like the comics was or the book. I don't know, man. But like the thing is, I don't know. I just feel like they didn't actually know themselves, and they just saw what was most popular with like young people, which of course we all know the best judge of character. So they were like, okay, yeah, they like to see, they think that's hot, so let's just hook them up, and that's why that's why we ended up getting it.
Yeah, maybe if I rewatch those movies, because I haven't watched them since I was in high school, so maybe if I rewatch them, then like, maybe I would.
It really feels like they just were coming up with it as they were making them, man.
Yeah, like you look at Force Awakens was a strong opening, if I'm being honest. It was very much like New Hope. It was very much that kind of vibe.
They showed gumption, man. They freaking had the balls to kill off Han Solo. I didn't think they were gonna do that.
Yeah, Han Solo was basically the Obi-Wan Kenobi of that movie.
Yeah, he really was. I shouldn't have been because he was always I don't think that Harrison Ford did a good job of hiding that he was done with it. So I was like, he's probably gonna die.
I'm surprised they even got him back because didn't he like hate like Han Solo?
Yeah,
or like
he probably
known for that or something like that.
I don't doubt him with this fan base, man. Sometimes I'm like, yo, chill out, man.
The great thing is that Harrison Ford went on to have an amazing career, though.
Yeah, and he's gonna be freaking Red Hulk,
The Fugitive, all that stuff.
Red Hulk. That's the only one that matters. No, I'm playing.
Is that real? I thought that was like just rumored.
Yeah. Nah, man, he's gonna be Red Hulk. I'm positive. If they're gonna have that character continue to be on,
the Thunderbolt Ross actor died, didn't
he? Yeah.
Yes. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. But the show's a really good actor.
I remember when Force Awakens filming was going on when he had that leg injury.
Oh yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh yeah. And he said he couldn't. He was like struggling a lot.
Yeah, and then like I think they said JJ was helping him up, and he ended up messing up his back or something.
That sucks, man.
And then there's the plane crash.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. He was real lucky with that.
It's crazy though. Like I just appreciate how I'm not sure if adventurous is the right word, but he almost has like this nonchalance about him. Like, like when he's playing his characters like Indy or Deckard or Han Solo, like just he could care more or less like how people feel about his character making a comeback or not.
Yeah, he just has that charisma, man. He's Han Solo.
I haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, but he was in that, right? He came back.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. He was a pretty interesting character in Blade Runner.
And then now he's finally in the MCU.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be legendary. I'm hyped for that film, man. Cap Ford, bro, let's go.
It's interesting. I remember seeing like a headline that was like, Indiana Jones. What was it in the? What was that last one? The Dial of Destiny. I haven't seen it yet, still, but like I remember seeing like, it was a rumor that was gonna be John Williams' last movie and Harrison Ford's.
Yeah,
dude, I think it's the only film that Antonio Banderas and Harrison Ford have ever done together.
He was in that.
Yeah, he's like one of the dudes. So freaking.
Yeah, I saw that.
Han Solo and
I was excited for it, but when it came out, the reviews weren't the best. Which is why I like hate like looking at reviews before I see movies.
Yeah.
Like to like go in and not have any expectations.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Han Solo and Zora.
That was a great cast.
Yeah, I just think it's just like the demographic is just not ours, man. They're from another generation, I guess. But I think hopefully the game will help.
We'll see.
If it's good. Yeah.
But
it's
yeah,
good.
What do you guys say we do Q&A and then wrap things up?
For sure.
Yeah, so like I was saying, like I feel like all this movie talk is very fitting because the question I wanted to ask is if there was any like movie director, like you could pick a movie director and like pick any like genre or like whatever, but just like pick a movie director and then have them make a game. Like I want you to make a game. Like who would you pick and what kind of game do you think they would excel at making? So I'll go first.
Yeah, that last question.
And this is an interesting one for me because I'm not even like a huge fan of his movies. I've only seen a couple of them, but Wes Anderson.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think his aesthetic and his vibe and style is really, really cool. Like I've only seen Grand Budapest and The French Dispatch. I've never even seen his animated stuff. I know like Fantastic Mr. Fox is like a classic. I haven't seen it, but just like his style, I feel like would make a really, really interesting video game. Like I could see him making some sort of like weird hybrid of like a platformer mixed with like I don't know, like a third person, like I don't know, like I imagine like something like Harold Halibut mixed with like a Mario almost. Like I don't know, I just feel like his style will be like really interesting. I feel like he would like do different like styles and like animation, I don't all that. Like I just feel like he would go completely wacky with whatever game he made, and I feel like that would be really interesting to experience.
Yeah, man, like the little devil inside. I feel like
yeah, like something like that. Like I could definitely see Wes Anderson making a game that had that kind of style.
So you can answer me. That's good. It makes me think. Boys, what were you gonna say? Because I feel like I don't know. I don't want to take yours, but I feel like I'll just say like what I'll say. And Nolan, just because he's already made like these super cinematic masterpieces, and the closest thing we have really to like a mind f of a game is like Silent Hill 2, and I guess Spec Ops: The Line. I feel like he could do a good job, and I don't know the mechanics of film, or not film, but like in his films, the mechanics of like the things he discusses, like with Inception. I wouldn't understand any of it, but I know that if he teamed up with Hideo, we get some legendary.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Was that what you were going to say, Boyce?
Nolan is definitely
no. No, mine. I'd really love to see Guillermo del Toro tackle a Western horror game.
Out there in the best way, dude.
Kind of something like what they did with Red Dead Undead Nightmare, but just make it more horrifying in a way. Because they teased it a little bit, I feel, in Red Dead Redemption 2, like when you would come across like those mutilated bodies from the killer side quest, and you'd have that ominous hum coming in when you'd come across each scene. Like,
that would be pretty cool.
Like, I'd love to see perhaps someone like Rockstar get together with Del Toro and make that into like that whole atmosphere, that vibe into a full-fledged game. And even Rockstar tackling horror, that's something that, I mean, may or may not work.
The thing about your answer, Boyce, that's
that
far-fetched. Like Nolan and Wes Anderson, I don't think I've heard them talk about making games. I mean, we had Nolan at the Game Awards, so I mean, he's aware of it. But I feel like with you, like Guillermo del Toro,
his brother made Fallout now.
He's huge on games. Like he loves Hideo Kojima and all that stuff. So I feel like it's only a matter of time before he dips his toes in the medium.
And like just his design and treatment of monsters. Oh, sorry, Eric.
No, go ahead, Boyce. You good.
Like his design and treatment of monsters as like these I don't want to say human, but just like he makes you able to empathize with them or even sympathize with them, like in Shape of Water or Hellboy. And to see him put that into a game, well, they kind of did that in Undead Nightmare with the Sasquatch, I think. But gosh, to have a character like that in a game would be great.
I remember that. That was really disturbing, man. It was really sad with the Sasquatch, but I don't know. That makes me think, like, man, have we ever had like animatronic, like the Muppet looking kind of like, those talking puppets that look like the monkeys and the pigs? If we had those as enemies, that would be disturbing, man. Because I think about like enemies and I'm like, I don't want more zombies. We don't need that anymore. And part of why I haven't beat Bloodborne, but I keep going back to it is because of those unique enemies and like Lovecraft. Those creatures are just so unique and terrifying, you know. And if we could get what you're talking about, man, in this kind of with these kind of enemies, I think that and the focus is on the horror because I know Undead Nightmare is kind of like comedic satire still. That sounds epic, man. That would sound like I don't know. That would be so scary.
And his Spanish undertones as well, like, or even have
Hmm.
it like Latin influence, that'd be
Like
amazing.
demonic, like Pan's Labyrinth, just like demonic, and I mean with the graphics now because we don't have Bloodborne 2 yet. We still haven't had like a proper sequel with like this even Lies of P is kind of like older now, man. Like not older, but the engine's not like it's not like God of War Ragnarok's graphics,
Mhm.
Like I'm still thinking the only real game is like what was it called? The one in that it's a roguelite. It came out on PS5. One of the only exclusives.
It
You know what
was
I'm talking about, man?
Godfall.
No, it's all right, but like that, you know what I mean? That kind of level of like graphical, just like fidelity and just like having that like with like the horror. I always feel like
Are you talking about Returnal?
it's always yes, Returnal. That's the
Yeah.
name of it. Like those graphics are really nice, and I don't know, just take full advantage of the technology.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer, Boyce. But I will say that I think I've told you this, Boyce, but I don't think I've told Eric. I've never actually seen that. I've not seen one Guillermo del Toro movie, not one. I just know he's like really prolific and he makes a lot of good stuff. Basically like particularly like horror based stuff. But yeah, I could definitely like could see him like making a game though, and I feel like I'd be into that.
You really ought to watch his Hellboy movies because, like, those are almost so similar to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
I know I remember you saying that, and I was like, dang man, I feel like I missed out on that one. But yeah, I gotta watch those because, like, as you know, those movies are like literally my favorite movies of all time. Those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. So
Yeah, they're the ghosts. I didn't know that Hellboy is pretty popular. Those first two films were at least. I know the new one's kind of like just disappeared, but no, we check it out, man.
yeah,
Yeah, they're even they're even making a fourth one, second reboot.
Let's hope it
that's
takes this time, man.
that's how you know those originals are good. Because wait, wasn't it like a comic first, and
Oh
then
yeah,
I feel like that's how you know like
Yeah,
those original movies were good though. When you're like trying to reboot it, you're trying to recapture that magic over and over.
he's an Injustice. He looks really funny. I saw the characters. I love those crossovers. I was telling Eric, but I don't know, boys. I don't know if you care about those XCOM types, but if you care, man, you should check out Midnight Suns, man. I think you like it a lot.
I keep meaning to get that every time it goes on sale.
Yeah, I got it for like $8. It's a lot of fun though. I think Captain Marvel's not. She's actually like a good character. When you like, I don't know. I enjoy it. Also, X Men guys, you guys got to watch X Men. Just give it a chance when you got it. It's basically like Invincible for kids. That's how I would explain it. It's got like a.
This is like we're a gaming podcast, but we just turned to like movies and TV.
Yeah.
Recommendations.
Actually, yeah. That's what we got to do when it's no games.
Yeah,
or slow
Let's
drive.
just become a movie podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, fuck games, dude. We don't need games anymore.
F the Game Awards.
Yeah, I don't mean it like it's for kids. I mean it's like more accessible. Like you don't have to worry about gore and body parts being ripped in half, but it's still got that same it's still got like an art. It's got like a consistent, continuing gripping plot. It really is well written, man.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah,
I've heard the IGN say that it's the best X-Men adaptation out of any of the movies.
Yeah, I haven't even started the new one, the '97. That's what you're talking about, right? I'm talking about the original. I'm still finishing that.
Oh, okay.
And this new one is actually it's not for kids. It's like TV 14. So I mean, this first one's definitely they definitely push a lot of it, and you can see because this came out before the movies, so you can see like Wolverine. You can just tell he's about to blow up because he already was even in the cartoon he takes over a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just funny, man, to see how all these cartoons, because there's the Spider-Man one. I feel like a lot of them had that influence to make these movies so popular. But it really is about segregation. It's really about racism. That's what is so different about the X-Men. They don't shy. That's the whole point. They don't shy away at all, and it's kind of some of it's pretty powerful stuff, man. I don't know how it's gonna make sense at all in Marvel because they haven't once been like Spider-Man, you're a freak. They're like Spider-Man, I love you. But I'm curious to see it, man. That's what I was gonna say way more in the beginning of the podcast because you hadn't seen the trailer yet. But they show literally icon of the Fox 20th Century on the floor, and Wolverine's looking at it. They don't it's so. It's so dope, dude. How they're not shying away from any of it. I think Deadpool says we're creating a tear. I don't know what he says, Boyce. I don't know if you remember it, but you saw that, right?
Yeah. In fact, my theory about it is that it's functioning almost like a more accurate, well, not really accurate, but it has sprinkles of the original Logan comic with this Wolverine's characterization. And I theorize that it's pretty much going to be like Deadpool kills the Fox universe instead of the Marvel universe.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know if you were going to say something else, but I feel like these guys are so ballsy doing stuff like this. I wouldn't be surprised. At the end of the movie, as a joke, dude, I wouldn't even be upset. Deadpool, someone just shoots Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the head and just kills him. They get to the very end of the film, and they're like, "We did it." They do a high five, "Yeah, we did it," and then he just gets shot. No.
Wait, isn't the only way to kill him though? Don't you have to decapitate him and then just take his head?
Yeah, no, no, because and Logan, the other, I don't know if you saw Logan yet, which is the best one ever. Did you not
have his healing thing anymore? Does
that? No, you haven't seen Logan.
I haven't. No.
You really haven't, boys. He hasn't seen. Dude, we have to go make him watch Logan, dude. We have to stop doing everything right now, dude. You have to go watch
I've
Logan.
only seen 3 X-Men movies.
I think you said at the beginning of this podcast. No, dude. Logan is fantastic, but yeah. I guess I'm kind of spoiled. Well, Origins has it too. There's an adamantium bullet.
You can tell me.
I'm not going to tell you because you need to watch Logan. You'll be upset, right, Boyce? Right? He needs to watch.
No, you'll be astonished.
Yeah, in Origins, I'll say this because Boyce, this is okay. Origins, they introduced something called adamantium bullets, and it's stupid because he lives, but you're not supposed to live if you get shot. If Wolverine gets shot in the head with that, he'll die.
Okay.
He will die. So they could just do that, and I would be like, that's awesome, dude. Rest in peace. There's no more fitting way in a Deadpool film.
One of my favorite movies ever ends the exact same way you just described, and I wouldn't be mad. I mean, I'd be sort of mad, but I could understand why it would have to happen.
Is
So
it the
long.
Sam Jackson one with the shark?
Oh no, not that one.
That's what I thought of. That's literally
I,
I was
I
like, they couldn't do that. They would be mad. He would need
I'll
more screen time.
I'll just say it's an A24 movie and leave it at that.
Okay, so we have to. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Well, X-Men continuity is such a messy bag in the movies, at least. So I think even with those three, you could just watch Logan as a standalone.
Yeah, that's what Eric was telling me, and I was like, if that's the case, I'll be more willing to watch it. I just always thought I was like, oh, I haven't watched all the other ones, so.
Dude, I just found out the other day that Logan is a sequel to like the X-Men, the original ones, the trilogy X-Men 3. I didn't know that, man. I thought it was its own universe.
They kind of give you two different X-Men endings with that and Days of Future Past.
Like, it was so happy and
hopeful.
hopeful.
I thought all those movies were part of the same series.
Oh, they are, but like there's some like continuity is a mess and Days
No,
of
here's
Future.
like Nightcrawler is in X-Men 2 as an adult, and then no one knows him, and then he knows them as a kid. Explain that, Boyce. I don't know that.
So Days of Future Past serves the same function that DC's Flashpoint did. It like I mean X-Men continuity was messy already, but there's something that takes place in Future Past that rewrites the canon as you know it from the original films. And so the following X-Men films after that serve as prequels while also serving as new canon and sequels to X-Men First Class as well.
So then the ones where Nightcrawler knows them as a kid.
Oh yeah, those are the new continuity.
With Sansa Stark.
It starts at
No, I
well,
mean Sansa like Stark, like the from Game of Thrones, the Jean Grey actress.
oh yeah, Sophie Turner.
Yeah. So they're not supposed to be the same people.
Uh, yeah, they're just the same. Well, they're different versions of the same
But
person.
so it's like they're different versions, so it's different things happen in their universe.
Yeah, like Dark Phoenix was actually their second chance to readapt the Dark Phoenix saga from the comics after they kind of butchered it with X-Men 3.
You just can't do something like that with a movie. It's like an arc. You need like a show kind of like for that particular. I don't know why they're so obsessed with that. Why they keep trying to, but like yeah, basically Eric, like all the new X-Men films that neither of us have seen, like Apocalypse, the other one. I think there's three of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of them that have Hugh Jackman. None of the ones that we know is from kids. None of those did well at all. They all like failed. I'm pretty sure those movies played a part in Marvel, making it easier for Marvel to obtain the rights. Right?
Yeah, I think so because,
Yeah.
gosh, the acquisition that was back in 2015, I think. And then because of how much they'd already had planned with the initial MCU with the Infinity Saga, they had to wait a long, long time before they could even include an X-Men reference.
That's right. I remember this because I remember being confused because I was like, I don't see anything about X-Men, but they own like they're like, but Fox is losing the rights, but they still don't have, and they're using Deadpool, but they're not referencing. They kind of are, but they're not, and then it's all just kind of until this point because they were still pushing those movies like New Mutants. Remember that one?
Oh wow! Yeah,
They just
I don't remember that one either. Yeah, I barely remember it. But
they
there's
just
Dark Phoenix, yeah, Dark Phoenix, Apocalypse, and then there's another one. I think maybe it was New Mutants. So maybe there was only two movies with the new ones, the new X-Men with
and
Sophie Turner.
yeah, there was let's see, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, and yep, those were the only two with her in it, I think.
Wow,
And
I could have sworn it was another. That was the other actress in New Mutants. It was Maisie Williams, her sister. That's what I was getting confused.
And I remember Fox was planning something else that sounded really, really interesting. It was going to be a Doctor Doom movie from Noah Hawley, the guy who did Legion and Fargo on FX.
I feel like I heard this, man. I feel like this was news along with like the other stuff that actually was true, like Craven the Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really glad that's not something that happened, man.
I think Doctor Doom, it could have been great in a way. Like, I think he would have made it something like this political thriller in a way, plus a character study, while adding this kind of regal, surrealistic style to it. I think it could have been
Right.
done right, but it just would have been
They give it
standalone.
the they give it the Joker treatment.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be Doctor Doom. It would be so. I don't even know what it would be because his whole thing is like his powers, right? He has to wear that costume.
Yeah, like even then, his roots as a character are so compelling as well. Like this, at first as a kid, I always thought he was just straight up evil, but he, I feel like he has this kind of necessity where he feels the need to like do terrible things just for the sake of his home country, Latveria.
I
And
thought he was just like like some dude that was like, "Oh, you stole my girl," because of that movie. He just hates Reed Richards because of like Susan and
uh,
his like this whole
yeah, another case of them dumbing down the movies for the general masses.
yeah. And then the other one did the same thing. He's like, "Oh man, you took my girl. I hate you." He's always saying he's so dumb in the movies. Why, man?
Uh, I think the first one I remember was just his face and like the disfigurement.
I remember he like shot a hole through somebody. I was like, "Dang, that is intense, man." That movie
That
was good. I loved that movie as a kid.
Yeah, that fight scene between him and the Thing, I mean, that was great.
He just got thrown around, man. But did you hear this morning, man? Like the big news, dude. I'm
Ooh,
pretty sure
which
that we got our Doctor Doom, man.
Oh, Paul Walter Hauser.
No, man. Is that who they said they think is gonna be the actor?
Oh no, they cast him, but my theory is he's gonna be Mole Man.
They already cast him.
Oh,
No, dude.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, 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 dude. I think that he's gonna be Doom because he was saying that he had big news for Marvel because everyone was saying he's Professor X, and if it's
Well,
not that, it would be
he already
Magneto.
said he's not interested in playing Professor. Like, he said he's
Yeah,
open to it, but he
that's what.
doesn't want to like play a character in a
Yeah,
wheelchair because he's not
yeah. He's
disabled.
not trying to do it. So no, I'm almost positive it's Doctor Doom because he already has this whole dynamic with Pedro Pascal, and I love that. I ate that up. Every scene with them in Mandalorian, like where he's his rival, I just chew that up, dude. It's like the best opportunity to have them face off again, but this time in theaters, man. And it's a part of the MCU. Let's go, bro. I'm hyped for that.
Is the MCU back?
I think it's been back, man. I
Yeah.
liked Quan Chi, man. What's it called? This new one. No, I'm playing. They haven't made anything recently, right? What
Wait,
was the last movie that was?
we saw Quantum Mania together, right?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
You
That was
liked
the
it?
last one. Was
I
no,
hated it.
that was so bad.
I wasn't a
It
fan
was
of it.
just,
I wasn't a fan of it. No.
In fact, it was so bad when I saw it that I had a headache and I went over to the bar with some friends and I was just so mad and frustrated by it
you
that
had
I
to
didn't
drink.
drink anything. I didn't drink anything at all
Oh,
because I was so frustrated.
It's one of those movies that like it's like not good while you're watching, but then the more you talk about it and think about it after the fact, you're like, man, that actually was really bad.
yeah.
In fact, I remember there right after the end credits scene, like there's this guy, I mean, he would exclaim or make a sound every time a comic book moment or fan-worthy moment would happen on screen. And some of those sounded a bit too excited. And I remember after the end of it, he said to someone, I thought that movie would suck. And then me and the guy next to me, like we just like turned and looked.
So you actually hated it?
Yeah, I would never watch that again.
I think the last movie that came out was it The Marvels? Was that last one?
I think so.
I saw The Marvels. As much as people hated that movie, I didn't think it was that bad at all.
That's what we should have seen, man.
The Marvels was actually pretty good. I liked it. And
I still need to watch
Guardians 3. I haven't seen that yet.
that one.
I haven't seen that either.
I consider that one my last MCU movie at the moment.
Yeah, I
Like
heard it was actually pretty good, but by that time I was kind of put off by MCU at that point. I'm not really into this anymore. And the only reason I saw the Marvels really is because I was kind of somewhat interested in it, but like I said, I like Ms. Marvel and stuff like that. But after like everything that had been going on, I was like, I don't really care about the MCU, but my girlfriend wanted to see it, and I was like, I'm willing to. I actually liked it. I'm glad I saw it. I was into it. But even still, I just still don't really care about Marvel anymore.
Like I never thought that I would ever feel the need to shed away tears just by witnessing the heartache and trials of a raccoon.
Guardians will do that.
And James Gunn made me feel that.
I gotta watch it, man. I just started that game, and I'm like, man, I remember how good these characters were together, and I was just thinking about the movies.
The game's amazing.
Yeah, dude, I'm figuring it out. I'm like, they really put a lot of thought into this, dude. If they just did this, honestly, they should have just done that for the Avengers in the games as well. Exactly, they should have just made a game. They should have made a game for each character, and then we put them in their own together, like they did for Guardians, and I would have had a blast. But no, we did the closest thing is Ultimate Alliance, and that's, I mean, as fun as it is, it's kind of, it's old, man. I don't want something new, man. I want Avengers 2 or something, man. This Wolverine's gonna get fix it up a little bit. You think they'd have like an X-Men Tactics or something? That's like the perfect franchise to do that with.
Do you guys think we'll ever get another Punisher game?
Probably.
I was just playing it. I got that on. Nah, man, probably. I don't know. We could.
It's high on the list of priorities right now, but I think we'll definitely.
What can we do that's? Yeah, well, it's like right now. It's what can we do that's like a power fantasy? Things that like I would be more excited to get like a Nightcrawler game because you can teleport. What's Punisher do? He uses guns. He throws grenades and he uses guns.
I even feel like there's probably even like there could be an investigative like angle to him, or even interrogative like in the original PS2 game. Like, I don't. I can see why it wouldn't be made today, just because of how I don't want to say PC or anything, social based, but like almost like the developers might try and play it a little too safe in terms of the content that some of his more well-known stories explore. And like GTA has that, but it's more sprinkled, and I feel like the fact that you're actually playing as criminals kind of took a back seat in GTA 5 in a way.
Well, here's the thing, man. I think of like the closest thing to Punisher's Max Payne in games. They're about to remake these new ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're really dark. Like the first game has a scene where you're like in a dream and you keep hearing your baby scream. But like there's the actual opening has you go into your baby's crib and you see like the blanket's like bloody. They don't like hide any of that shit. And I'm like, I don't know if they do that kind of stuff and they don't hold back the Punisher, but you're actually like playing through like when he's in the park with his family. I feel like they could make a good game, but it'd be like Last of Us. It has to be like Last of Us quality. They can just, because like I think the show did a good job of like branching that, path between, being. The show did a good job of like making it still accessible, right? It's still really dark, but it wasn't like, we can't, because this is a character that's naturally very leans a certain way that people like, and that can be problematic. But I think he did a good job, like showing you that you should Punisher's like this, but it's not something that you should exactly gratify, and it's not exactly good for him to be doing this. And I think the best comics about him, they go into that, and they really, I don't know if you guys heard about Punisher Max, but it's basically just real life, if he was, a part of the real world veteran type stuff. But yeah, that's just as far as my thoughts go.
The best thing about that series is that they aged him in real time.
I think that's what I was like. That's what I wanted to say. They age him, and there's, I don't know if you've read there's an issue where he's in the war, and they talk about how it might be that he was always like that, he was always kind of like a monster, and maybe he liked killing people. It's really strong stuff, but I don't know. It's also pretty it's actually really anti-war. That's the thing that's funny, because you see sometimes the people that put those things on their trucks and stuff. Would be I'm a Punisher fan, but if they actually read the comics, they would see that that's the opposite of the point.
Yeah, Punisher born.
Yeah, he's fucked up. He's not a good person at all. And the one that I have, the one Max, you do not like him, dude. He's oh man, he murdered, he's just psychopath. But do you hear that he's not even the Punisher right now?
Oh yeah, they tried 4 issues with an ex-Shield agent as the Punisher, an original character, and that series got quietly canceled.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah,
It was only 4 issues.
yeah.
Dear bro, I'm done. I'm dead. I remember reading, people were like, let's see how long this lasts, bro. I don't know if they were being funny or not, bro, but this shit's hilarious.
And it almost feels like Marvel didn't really know what to do with his character anymore. I mean, sure, you could put him up against super beings in the main universe, but that
He's gonna die,
doesn't.
bro.
And they even put him in the War Machine armor for a few issues.
No.
And then they made him the leader of the hand. Gosh, was it the hand? I can't even remember. But they made him the leader of a ninja clan, and that's why they redid his symbol and gave him size and blades in place of his guns.
What are you talking about, man? Is this new? They brought him back?
Oh no, this was before they brought in the new guy. Like it was the last series to feature Frank as the Punisher. It was 12 issues where they just turned him into a ninja organization leader.
You gotta get the hell out of here, bro. I didn't even see that. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, and
Bro, they made him look like a League of Shadows.
exactly.
He looks like the Red Hood. This is literally the Red Hood dress. Bro, can you imagine John Bernthal dressed like this, bro? Get out of here with that. It's so dumb, dude.
Look at that, man! Real time, movie and comic book recommendations.
Yes, sir.
You betcha.
This is I feel like we did pretty good for not having any actual topics to talk about.
Oh yeah, we made it to the end.
And around 1 hour ago, Kendrick put out another Drake diss.
Yeah, I just heard the one when I left the conversation. I was listening to it. That shit was insane.
I gotta catch up then. So what is that? What's that now? 3, 4 tracks that's been
4.
man. Real time podcast where we talk about music, movies, comic books, anything other than games. No, I'm just kidding. We talked about games quite a bit, but it's still been interesting.
Yeah, guys.
All in the game.
Yep. That's been, what was that, episode 6? Yeah. I'm starting to lose track now. As for next week, if you guys want to hold it down, you're more than welcome. But I won't be in town, so I won't be able to do an episode. But so we'll see what happens next week if there's an episode or not. But if some crazy news comes out, you guys want to talk about it, that's fine. But that's been Real Time, episode 6. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll catch you in the next one.
All right, bet, guys. Stay safe.
Take care.
All right, peace.